Dr. Nick Goeders is here. He is the head of Pharmacology, Toxicology, and Neuroscience at LSU Med Center. And your place is called Loving Solutions. The website is lovingsolutions.org.
That's right.
When I described it earlier as a halfway house, that's not the term you used earlier when you've joined us previous.
No, I kind of winced when I heard you say that.
Well, that's what I try to do to my friends.
We look at it as more than that. And when I say we, it's mostly my wife Linda and I are doing most of this now, getting it ready. It's more of a ministry. It's more to teach people a different way to live. People that have been living in their cars or living in the drug scene, to teach them how to live a different way.
It is a decompression chamber for methamphetamine addicts between rehab and the real world. Closer?
That's closer.
Let me know when I hit it now.
Well, it's what I said. It's a new lifestyle, teaching them a new way to live, teaching them about the love of Jesus, and that they can learn to love themselves and not go back to the same culture that they were living in before.
We have talked many, many times. We'll go to break. We'll come back. We will get into the nuts and bolts of this. Not only your research, which is and your life work, your life dedication is to helping people with addictions, specifically methamphetamine. When we come back, and I know we've talked about it before, but there's a lot of people who haven't heard the degree, the depth, the number of methamphetamine addicts in the Arklatex and the devastation that this drug, as opposed to some of the others, has caused. So hold your place. Don't lose your thought. Don't go away. More with Dr. Nick in just a couple of seconds. 7:39. Here's Ruben on KEEL.
Just received reports of an overturned 18-wheeler right before the Ada Taylor exit on I-20 eastbound, and we're still keeping a close eye on that major accident on Fenton Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 65. Tonight will be partly cloudy, low 43. Clouds, sun, high 69 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
Okay, so basically you're really good on the radio when you're calm. When you get worked up, you're great. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. Dr. Nick Goeders is not only a Jesuit grad. What year, 70?
73.
Okay, so you were ahead of my brother Hal and my brother Bill. You were 73. Hal was 74. Bill was, I think, 77. Pharmacology, Toxicology, and Neuroscience head at LSU Medical Center. Your ministry,
there you go,
is Loving Solutions, online at lovingsolutions.org. And I don't want to say the cornerstone of your research, but you have the major part of your efforts into the cause, the treatment, etc. of all sorts of addictions is primarily, at this point at least, methamphetamine. And you have talked so many times about the methamphetamine epidemic right here at home.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
Well, ask anybody on the street, anybody that's using drugs, but you can go further. Judge David Matlock called me one day, called my office, and told me that 2/3 of all the cases he sees involving children and involving the drug court are women in their 20s using methamphetamine. His numbers were 2/3 of all the cases where children have to be removed from the homes. It's due to women using methamphetamine.
Good Lord, man, is it something that is specific to a particular demographic? Is it more men than women? I know before you talked about, and I go, no, that can't be right. You had said before that even when it comes to the economic caste system, that the methamphetamine addiction plague, it doesn't break down to one economic area or another.
Not at all. I've had people tell me that you would be surprised the number of lawyers and doctors and people of all professions and people that don't have jobs that use methamphetamine. You would just be amazed if you were out there and saw that culture.
This may be just why. I mean, of all the drugs there are, I guess the first question would be why?
There are at least two major reasons. One is that the Mexican drug cartels figured out that they could make a huge profit.
Okay, let's stop a second, and we're going to go off on a tangent here. And I was telling literally two people this story that you had told me, that one of the collateral damages from all these states, Colorado, California, Oregon, legalizing marijuana is that the Mexican drug gangs, specifically MS-13, have shifted from marijuana to methamphetamine production, which explains the drug war against all the biker guys who were making the meth also, why there's this huge drug war going on along the southern border of the U.S. That MS-13, which is a brutal bunch of horrible people, are suddenly now in the meth business.
Well, they can import the precursors from India and from China, get them really cheap, make the really good methamphetamine, the P2P methamphetamine, which is highly pure, 99% pure, and ship tons of it across the border. And it doesn't take a ton for someone to get high on it. And they're making huge profits.
The profit margin is so high, it's so much cheaper to make, etc.
And there's no growing season. With marijuana, they have to grow it. With cocaine, they have to grow the plant that makes cocaine. With methamphetamine, they mix a bunch of chemicals together in a super lab and ship it across the border.
So literally the legalization of marijuana that seems to be expanding state to state to state to state is in fact making the methamphetamine plague worse.
Maybe. I haven't seen any statistics on that, but it makes sense. They can make a lot more money shipping methamphetamine. And I heard a report out of, I think it was the New York area, that they were finding fentanyl, an opiate, that was laced with methamphetamine, that they're starting to cut some of the opiate drugs with methamphetamine, making it even more dangerous and more likely people will overdose.
I read somewhere, somebody told me, I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it was you, that if you use meth one time, you're an addict.
That's what they say. They say it's so good. There's such a surge of dopamine that people want to feel that, whatever it is, that feeling again, and they'll do it again and again, trying to search for that initial high they got the first time.
Are the people who would fall into this meth trap, are they sort of predisposed to be addicts anyway? Or is this, I mean, are there people out there that go from 2 martinis to meth in one fell jump?
Yeah, there's not any genetic predisposition for becoming addicted to methamphetamine. It could happen to anybody. Anybody could get addicted to it.
So your ministry, and you've got a house, that's why you can explain, is called Loving Solutions. And the website, let me mention again, lovingsolutions.org. We've got about 2.5 or 3 minutes. Tell me about that. Tell me the status. I know that you're still in the formative stages, yes. but what a, bluntly put, an act of mercy on the part of you and your wife.
Well, we purchased a 4,000 square foot, 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom house on 12.7 acres. And that's where we're going to house women who have struggled with methamphetamine. We're doing everything ourselves. In fact, Linda, my wife, she's doing most of the work. Getting the house ready.
You got a day job.
There were things that we had to do. We had to repair the driveway, and we had people from our church, Westview Christian Church. They came and did that for us. We just paid for the concrete. We've had to repair walls. We've had to repair plumbing, and we're just doing it a piece at a time because we don't have millions of dollars. We just have, tens of dollars that we're trying to put this together. But once we get the house ready, Linda and I have decided we'll put out, it's going to cost $1,000 a month for each woman. And we'll go ahead and do that ourselves to get the first two in there so that we can fundraise and get the money that we need, because we want to house 8 women there with 2 house mothers. And in the future, we want to build cabins and expand on the acres that we have.
What is your time frame for opening? And like I said, the website is lovingsolutions.org. You can find out all about it, and if you would care to make a timely donation, it would be certainly appreciated.
It certainly would, because we're doing this on like a shoestring budget right now.
Well, bluntly put, you put it on your back, man.
Well, maybe. But we hope maybe to have it open by the first of the year. We're like struggling to get everything done, and there's not a ton of money flowing in, and if that changed, we might be able to move quicker.